Okay, it should be live.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I thought Muffin was gonna say hi first.
I thought you were gonna say something, Shane.
No, I did say I'd say something. Hello.
Hello.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to say.
No, just go away.
Do your thing. Okay, well, tell me when to start the timer, and
Yeah, I will.
I'm all ready for that.
So hopefully there is sound and nobody in chat is complaining right now. Anyways, I'm Saji. This is my ESA 2019 submission video. No, I'm just kidding. So we're gonna run Warcraft 3 Undead today. With me is Muffin. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm really pumped for this. So Warcraft 3 is a pretty intense game with me. You're gonna say many more words than I will probably during this run. So, but yeah, game is in German. Don't worry about it. We'll do some memes about that later. I'm just gonna start the timer soon so that Shane can chill. If he's ready, then we're good in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, Warcraft 3. Ah, it's a good game.
It is. So in this game, it's a RTS. So in a lot of speedruns, you're only controlling one unit. Warcraft 3, you control a lot.
Yes.
And especially in the later missions, we're going to see a lot of macro and micro sort of concepts come to fruition to turn some really sort of slow missions into insanely difficult, but very, very fast. But in this first mission, we have control of our hero, Arthas, which, just like the human campaign, we have a heal spell in order to heal our units that deals damage to enemy living units. So like there, he just casts a spell on the footman, as you saw, to damage him. But also more importantly is this footman is going to drop an item.
As Muffin said, this is a real-time strategy game. That means pretty much everything you do, since it's real-time, you could be doing it a bit faster. And that is the reason why you want to be clicking as much as possible all the time. You want to be constantly doing stuff, the sources, fast grade your units of bells. Of course, this is important not only in multiplayer, which this game is huge in, but also in single player. So many tricks in this game, especially later missions, we'll be calling that out, are actually dependent of you being able to execute your movements and your actions extremely quickly. Yeah, Muffin, we just leveled up. We didn't talk about the story yet, but we're probably gonna do that later. But we're a hero unit. Sorry, this is Arthas. He's a Death Knight now. And we just leveled up our spell. Maybe you should talk about that now. I just missed it completely.
Yeah, sure. So the first spell, as we mentioned, is Death Coil, which is a heal and also damaging spell that costs mana, which you can sort of see in the center of your screen when he has Arthas selected. It's the gray number of the portrait. And we're able to spend mana on those Death Coils. But for a second spell, we'll go up to level 2, just like in Amaba. He ends up being able to collect a new spell, which was Unholy Aura. And that's actually going to grant some passive life regeneration to get our army sustained. But more importantly, it's going to increase the movement speed by a percentage, which is going to allow faster. And that is very important in some.
Yeah, it is. Apart from that, this guy's Shaquille O'Neal, see? He blocked me perfectly. Well done. So this game has very bad pathing still. It's... See? So there's pretty much nothing I could have done there. In Reign of Chaos, the pathing is a lot worse than in Frozen Throne, which is the expansion that most of you probably might know. Yeah, we're currently assembling the Cult of the Damned. And then now we're done. Hopefully. Yes.
Yeah.
What's up?
Could you lower your bit rate?
I can do that.
I'm sorry about that.
I'm gonna do 2K now.
Yeah, try that and see if it fixes it.
Yeah, okay, so hopefully once that's good, we now have assembled the Cult of the Damned, and the next thing we're gonna do is revive our friend Kel.
Yeah, in our first even-numbered mission number 2, and in this campaign are insanely difficult.
Yeah, this is the math, right?
Yeah. Right now, we're going to be showcasing off a pretty substantial trick where we're going to be, because in this mission we have to end up destroying and killing a bunch of paladins, and then that's what ends up ending. So Sajiki set up a safety save there, then he's going to place this meat tractor in a really specific position.
Meat tractor.
He's going to stop himself from crossing an invisible trigger line, which would start some dialogue in order to bait this paladin over. This allows us to be able to take out this paladin without having him run away. And so if we hit the dialogue, run off behind like over half a dozen footmen and some like towers and stuff like that, it's really slow to be able to try and chase him and grab him.
Yeah.
The fastest strat for the level actually does have you chase him, but it's like it's not much faster and it's ridiculously difficult. So.
Exactly, and now we enter the macro part through. To build the base for the first time, and usually we're not gonna do exactly what the game wants us to do. So in this mission, we're supposed to build up a huge army of ghouls and then kill the remaining. This mission is already pretty muffin.
Yeah. The guy. So here we're actually killing villagers to stop them from. That allows us to take them down a little bit quicker. Oh, that's very unlucky. The militia actually came down and started attacking the meat. Would be a little bit longer wagons into them. After footmen, they'll obviously starting. So it's important we take down back here. But so
It's pretty.
So he's here.
Sorry, I
sorry,
just want to mention really quick.
Yeah.
Some people in chat have said it might be on Twitch.
Okay.
Anyways, I guess I'll let you
What have people mentioned?
see Twitch's right now. I'm not
Okay.
entirely sure.
Okay.
All right.
And which means I have wagons as fast as I can.
That's okay. So Sajiki did micro there to live because these end up targeting you. Aim funds first. Also by unit aggro priorities. But Sajiki needs to make sure that he schools back. Skill wise, going to allow them to in order to be able to.
Exactly. Another footman, but okay.
You can like peel off a meat wagon and keep one back if you don't want to.
Oh, I lost one ghoul already. That's too bad. It's not the end of the world though.
Nah, it's okay. Just build the last ziggurat and then you should be fine.
I did that. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so Sajiki built up to 3 ziggurats here, and this is in order to be able to fulfill a mission objective, but more importantly, he is going to be able to sustain his army by producing more ghouls in order to take down the last 2 paladins. Because as he progressively gets further and further into the mission, they end up getting stronger and stronger. But that being said, using the tractors here, he's able to take down these trees.
Tractors, dude.
and then because the footmen have tractor vision, they can see through the houses, and they end up chasing around. And this is in order to just be able to kill off this entire large army that's surrounding the next paladin, which was a really nice discovery for this route. But yeah, so like right now he's just taking down the barracks with the meat tractors and then killing off the rest of the army before attacking Paladin.
So thankfully I didn't mess up the macro, because in this mission the last paladin you have to kill is Uther himself. This is the legendary scene where Arthur says, already killed his father, he's gonna kill his mentor as well. Hopefully that's gonna go well, because Uther is a pretty difficult fight otherwise. You need to have a ton of ghouls for this. Already this is pretty difficult, as you can see. The knights deal way more damage than I can actually take with my ghouls. But it looks fine.
Yeah. Even on normal difficulty, it's like this mission's pretty insane because the knights are like are pretty late in the tier tech for humans in general. And on this map, they just give them a bunch of knights and footmen. But now Saji's going to end up intentionally tanking a bunch of these holy light spells, which are similar to our death coil. So the paladins use holy light to damage undead units and also heal friendly human units. And so the Paladin has three more Holy Lights, and then he will end up stop casting it. So Sajiki is being very careful to make sure he micros back the damage pools, and he's going to use the Scroll of Healing in order to like heal them all up. Yeah, there we go. And boom.
Yes, and now hopefully I'm not gonna mess this up. Oh no, what are the ghouls doing? Muffin, what is this?
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay, my
You're only
Death Knight
supposed to hug
died.
corpses.
Just kidding. We're back. Arthur's alive. Never actually died.
Nice. Yeah, so that was a really cool trick where you just walk into the cutscene and it always either teleports Arthas to that location or it respawns him. And this allows us to use our mana frequently to damage the earlier paladins, but then also to be able to have enough for 3 death coils for the final
Yes,
fight.
exactly. So it just refills our mana and we can actually heal the last ghoul up. And then here I should have enough for this fight, so I can just run in there. Should be fine.
Yeah.
We can surround him right now. He's gonna kill probably 1 ghoul or something.
Yeah.
That's completely
So,
fine.
yeah, this is a really nice number of pools from Sajiki, and this was, once again, just because he was super on top of his macro at the beginning of the mission. It's really hard, especially in the middle of the mission, to balance out your macro while still being able to take good engagements with the paladins, and Sajiki did a great job. This is definitely one of the scarier missions
Okay,
in the
so
marathon.
I'm really glad that didn't go any badly, but it's gonna be followed up
Yeah.
with another mission, which I personally don't like, so hopefully this is gonna go well.
Yeah, and so this next one is going to be quote-unquote one of the easier missions because it's an odd number, but it's still like very, very difficult. And can have things happen, but basically this is another mission where it's sort of introducing you to macro as well as a new unit, which is the Necromancer, or the Necro Dancer, excuse me. And so the Necro Dancers have this ability to spend mana in order to raise spooky skeletons from corpses.
Oh,
And
yeah.
just as I mentioned, various units have aggro priorities. The skeletons, for some reason, really piss off like any enemy
Makes
unit.
them really angry.
Yeah, they get really mad whenever they see them.
I mean, it's probably because they're so spooky, because honestly I would want to get rid of them as well. They're extremely spooky, so everybody who is easily scared, like myself, I usually play with sunglasses in this mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first appearance of many of our good friend Sylvanas, who's going to be a Banshee later. You probably know that. Oh, spoiler. Oh, sorry. Oh,
Whoops.
sorry guys.
Oh,
we're going to build a necropolis here because this mission has many instances of build a necropolis in the enemy base, which is pretty good. Uh-oh.
Oh, where the... Oh, wow, Footmen are pretty far behind. It's nice. Okay, cool. So, Sajiki ended up taking out Sylvanas. You don't technically have to do this, but it adds a little bit of extra, like, macro and micro in the beginning of the mission that doesn't save too much time, so it's very nice to take that direct engagement and get Arthas some experience. But here, because Saji's not actually building a base where it expects you to, he's going to summon a bunch of really spooky skeletons to soak damage, because they only have a time to life. Yeah. And then he's going to run forward with Arthas and an Acolyte, build a base inside a base.
So as you can see, the ballista is going to attack my meat wagons, but when I move them the second it shoots, then I'm going to dodge pretty much 90% of the damage because it's so local. This is how I easily take care of those, because the meat wagons deal actually so much AoE damage, and it's also possible to
save.
Oh yeah, you're right, thank you. So it's also possible to easily kill your own units, and I really don't want to do that, so hopefully I'm fine here. And here's another flavor of where you're not supposed to be.
Yeah, so Arthas here is going to tank all the damage from these gnolls, and he's going to pull them away in order to be able to build this huge necropolis in a very, very specific spot. That spot is extremely important to a huge sequence break that we're going to deal later. But Sajiki isn't out of the woods yet. He actually has to take a pretty tight fight here with these gnolls. So he baited them back and then summoned more skeletons to tank and soak the damage while he brings the meat wagons in here to be able to start fighting. And he's not directly engaging with a lot of his army just yet in order to be able to keep them at a high enough health. And the meat wagons are okay to take damage because he can just end up repairing the acolytes.
Okay, I think we're fine. Have some spooky boys left. We have to wait. I'm not losing any time. Yeah, hello?
Is there time for a donation?
Oh yeah, actually.
Sure.
Okay, we've got a $10 donation from Acolyte that says, "My life for Nerzul." Thank you,
Okay,
Acolyte.
that's thanks, Acolyte. My life for Ire. I mean, Nerzul.
Make sure to repair the meat wagons.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what I do here is, actually I drink this, I buy 2 of these, I buy 1 of those, I use it, and now I have enough for this. And I can actually still use the mana pot later, and I can also buy it. I didn't mess it up, that's really... I'm really thankful about this.
Nice.
So now I can heal the first guy at last, sorry, like this. Yes, so now everything is correct. Okay, I'm good this time, Muffin. I'm gonna move my guys over here. I'm not gonna do that again. Let's see.
So here, what we're going to be showcasing in terms of how we're entering the base. So there's only like 4 that we destroy to trigger the end of the mission. However, there's a bunch of invisible triggers that will stop, spawn a bunch of extra. So there's the trick.
So hopefully that goes correctly. And we are. Okay, so good.
Nice. Yeah, so now we're in this base, and we actually skipped over some invisible triggers to like pretty much double the size of the Elven army in this base. And then with the Book of the Dead, which summons a bunch of undead units, we're going to be able to take this pretty difficult fight and actually make it really easy. So even though we didn't end up building a base at the start of the mission and macroing up really heavily, we still have like a huge army to be able to take this fight. Then if Sajiki does this correctly and doesn't go too low or too high in the base, he won't spawn those extra units, and he can actually just use the rest of his army to focus down the buildings. But yeah, nicely done, man. This is looking really clean.
Yeah, that looks fine this time. I messed this up in practice, so I'm glad. This mission can go very wrong. It's quite difficult to come back once you messed up. Yeah, so should be fine.
Yeah, it looks good. So basically in this mission, if you accidentally spawn the extra units, or like you lose a meat wagon, or your units teleport in wrong, the Elven army can just kind of like get a huge curve on you, like right in the starting area. You just end up killing all your stuff before you're able to sort of sustain the fight. But that was a really nice entry and engagement before the next even numbered mission, which is going to be a bit spooky.
Yeah, mission 4 is pretty spooky. So as I said, or Muffin said, if you teleport wrong into the space, it can snowball extremely quickly, so I'm very glad that this worked. But yeah, next mission is mission
awesome.
4. I'm going to completely shut up in the beginning because the beginning is extremely precise, and I hope that I nail everything here.
Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be splitting into 2 separate armies, because after we get 2 Zeppelins, and we have just enough Zeppelin room to be able to move very specific groups of units to very specific portions of the map.
Okay, I need to restart.
Okay, that's fine. Because in the bottom left corner of the screen, once the mission loads, you'll see a mini-map. You'll see 3 cyan squares spawn invisible circles on the map. Sajiki has to end up going around and destroying those 3 altars in order to get a full key to be able to get access to the end of the mission. And so, in order to do this, he's going to move his units around very specific fashion and use his finite resources on this map to be able to do so very quickly. However, as he mentioned, it's very spooky and it requires like really specific timings and stuff. So the top Zeppelin is going to have all of the acolytes, the meat wagon, and 2 crypt fiends, which are a ranged ground-to-ground attack unit that has this web ability to pull down air units to the ground. And then, as you saw, he built another necropolis in the enemy base, and we're going to use that necropolis for another teleport trip to bring Arthas to the end.
Didn't build it yet, but I'm going to build it now. But once again, we're going to build a necropolis. And building necropolis is fun, guys. This is the build necropolis 80% as fast as possible. Speedrun. We're going to bring this over here, and I'm gonna definitely take a safety here because this is super spooky.
Yeah, this is the hard part of the mission. So, like, here on this, he's just going to brute with his own hero unit and a bunch of army units. But the enemy also has this at their disposal. They have a bunch of army units, which end up being pretty tanky. And so he accidentally spent one of his death coils to like, heal a unit. And that's kind of spooky, because then he's not bursting down the hills. Yeah, but it looks like he has enough skeletons now to be able to sustain this out and start destroying the altar.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, okay. So he accidentally used the meat wagon to clear the trees, but he cleared a line of trees that was too close, so the enemies are actually going to be able to get vision. But it actually looks like it's going to... Yeah, it looks like it's going to be okay. And
okay,
so now
we got the first one.
Yeah, cool. So now that he got the first one, he's just going to immediately load Arthas up and bring it to the second one. It's important that we had the meat wagon over here for this altar, because it ends up dealing tons of extra damage to buildings.
Okay,
and so that's going to be really useful.
Ooh, okay, so this is quite spooky, as I said, but I think we're fine. As long as I don't go below 500 gold here, I think the altar should be dead. All my units are dead, which is good, because I need to have supply. We didn't mention the supply mechanic at all. So once this necropolis finishes, I'm gonna have 10 free supply to build units. And I need, I believe... Oh, it's not dead. I have enough damage on my Death Knight. There we go. And then I load up into this Zeppelin, because it's more healthy.
Yeah. And so now he's going to fly through the Waygate, taking tons of damage from this tower, but the Zeppelin, as long as it's over like half health, you have plenty of health to be able to get through there, no problem.
Okay.
As Saji mentioned, he has 10 free supply and 500 gold. This is going to allow him to buy 2 sappers here, and then he's going to end up walking those sappers down. Huge AoE damage, which also acts as friendly fire, so he has to be careful.
Yeah, I have to be careful not to kill them. Let them kill each other, but that should be fine.
Yeah. And so there's something really subtle, is he was actually having Arthas walk really close to them. Then using the teleport at the Necropolis, which for some reason in the final base only has 1 enemy unit attacking him, he's just able to teleport right to the end.
Okay, that's already really a tough mission out of the way, so I'm glad. Whew, okay. Well,
yeah, so far so good, man. You're doing a great job. It's like that seems all to go really well, but he had some like things go pretty wrong, and he was able to sustain that and be able to take that back pretty cleanly. And so whenever you make a mistake, especially in an RTS game like this, you might end up losing minutes rather than just a couple of seconds like in a movement-based speed game, but then also the notion that you can still actually salvage some situations, it just makes the game like 1,000 times more difficult if you like accidentally lose 1 unit, which is pretty crazy. And so especially in that situation where the second altar didn't die from that meat wagon alone, that put a huge strain on Saji to not make further mistakes.
Okay, that was very nice too. I need Death Coil level 3 here, so now my Death Coil is on the strongest it can be. I can now leave the base and head for the goal, because this is actually the mission where those of you who have played WoW, you'll find all the history in WoW in this campaign. So this is where we corrupt the Sunwell, and actually that's going to revive Kel'Thuzad. And the way we're going to do that is there's some big golem... Oh, this is pretty good dialogue in German, so whoever understands German, have fun. Das Elfen vibe. But yeah, anyways, so there's 4 golems at the very end that we need to take care of, and thankfully they're extremely weak because we have piercing damage, and in Reign of Chaos, piercing damage deals bonus... Sorry, they have heavy armor, that's what I wanted to say, and piercing damage, which we have a ton of with our fiends, deals bonus damage. If this would be Frozen Throne, we probably would have no chance against them with just fiends. So a thing I'm doing here is collect more items. I'm gonna take care of these nodes real quick, and that's gonna give us a nice mana pot. So I'm gonna research this. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, and so in this mission in a bit, you're going to see Saji get control of a bunch of gargoyles, and I think so what ends up happening is the gargoyles have a huge aggro priority over the giant granite golems at the end, and
Yeah,
so
they
they
do.
won't end up targeting the crypt fiends like at all, as long as a gargoyle is alive. So I imagine like casually the developers are like, oh, we want to stop the players from being able to just mass up a bunch of gargoyles
Yeah.
and fly them into the end.
Yeah, that's actually a good
But
explanation, yeah.
yeah, but because we're just able to walk our entire army over here, he's going to intentionally fail the optional objective, which is like killing the runners that are trying to warn this base, because he's just going to build a bunch of crypt feeds and then just march them all in past his army. He is going to end up killing off this like ballista and a couple of the extra units for a bit of safety and like heal a crypt fiend before it gets damaged down too much. But
Okay, well,
besides that,
let's
he's
save that.
going to, yeah, nice save.
Okay.
Be able to take this fight. That's good.
Okay, there's our last fiend. Coming from the wrong side, anyways. So we're
Make
gonna.
sure to save.
I think I'm fine.
Okay.
I'll save now though, because you're correct, of course, and this is a marathon. Okay, so here we go. So as you can see, as long as there's a gargoyle, he's gonna throw rocks at them. I think I'm gonna take down this guy here real quick, and then pull the next one. If I do that correctly, there's only one granite golem coming up, and that worked. Very nice. So far, so good.
Yeah, nice. So he actually used really specific setups there. He walked a crypt fiend into a specific spot and put it on hold position in order to attack the tower.
Yeah.
For some reason, this only aggroes one of the granite golems at a time, and so we can take a really easy first engagement, especially with all those gargoyles alive. And then Sajiki, using his hero to use Death Coil on the gargoyles, like fully heals them up, regardless of what HP value they are at. And then here he just has so many crypt fiends, he just bursts down the first one, and then bursts down the second one. But you can see, like with 2 granite golems, it's really hard to actually keep these gargoyles alive.
Yeah.
So that was a really nice strategic placement, and sort of how we sort of hash out this.
Also, our base is getting wrecked, but whatever. I mean, we're just out. Oh boy, now 6. So there's also a mission where I'm going to completely shut up because this can go terribly wrong for minutes, and I hope it is not. So if I nail the beginning sequence, I'm going to be extremely happy, so
yeah.
feel free to explain.
Yeah, this is an even number mission, so it's insanely difficult. And right in the beginning, we're going to be setting up another teleport trick in order to speed up the mission by minutes. So what Sajiki has to do is he has to like try and babysit this one acolyte with Arthas. The acolyte is insanely low health, so he has to be really on top of that. Then he's going to send 3 groups of units to different corners of the map in order to be able to get the necessary resources, items, and be able to take an engagement. Because all we have to do is end up destroying all the buildings in the top right red base. If we end up succeeding in doing this, we'll end the mission very, very fast. So we want to ignore the other 6 orc bases the best we can. So up there, he's going to be building the Necropolis. Nicely done. Make sure to save. As you did, good. And then he is going to be running Arthas into the base. The top right base has probably one of the most powerful units in the game, which is a red dragon. And it spawns like 3 of these very, very quickly in the start of the mission. But because we start with flying units of our own, Sajiki is just going to end up microing 4 gargoyles into Frostworm to kill all the anti-air in this base, and then start destroying the roost. Because a runner of the screen named Blaster Port ended up discovering that the base doesn't actually start with any red dragons on the map. So with this, Sajiki can just walk in here with Arthas, end up healing the Frostworm, if he so chooses with a Death Coil, and then try and run him in squares. Then he's also getting simultaneously attacked by that Blade Master, the Silent Blade Master in his base, as you saw, but he ended up walking Crypt Fiend and shift commanding it to attack the Blade Master. Because after the Blade Master ends up getting attacked once, he'll cast Mirror Image, and that Mirror Image will, oh shit, okay. Yeah, so he has the backload here, that's okay. I think, yeah, it should be. Yeah, he should be fine. And so if he can get the Blade Master cast Mirror Image down below, the Blade Master will not come up to attack the base. And because he ended up upgrading his Necropolis in the beginning of the mission, this allows Sajiki to be able to destroy the rest of the army without any.
Where is he not following me?
Okay. He might be just losing sight. And then if he loses sight, he will just... yeah, there he goes. Okay, cool. But, so here it does look like Sagi is going to be okay. The Frostworm. Oh, nice save. Okay, okay. Whew. So now that he ended up destroying the roost, all he has to end up doing to sustain is keep Arthas alive by running around in squares. Then the Acolyte there that built the Necropolis, Saji's going to take the Lich, the last Fiend, and 2 Meat Wagons to teleport into the base. And then he's going to end up building 3 slaughterhouses at the Necropolis. The reason why he's doing this is it allows him to build more meat tractors, which are going to end up dealing tons of extra damage to buildings and allow him to finish the mission like insanely fast. Saji also has the option, if he wants, to buy some safety items for the next mission, but he doesn't have to do this if he doesn't want to.
Oh, there's one more. What? One more ranged guy. I'm really fast, I think.
Yeah, that's okay. I think that's the last one. So a really interesting thing about this mission too is that the base will only spawn a finite number of ranged attack units to meet Saji at all. So as long as Saji is able to kill off that finite number, the base will actually just stop spawning them overall, which is pretty funny. Yeah, and so taking down those towers is a huge victory. Nice. So Saji's last spell on Arthas, which he actually ended up picking up for a bit of safety, was this sacrifice ability, which allows him to sacrifice a unit and then gain health back based on Arthas, excuse me, based on the amount of health the sacrifice unit had. But yeah, so he actually now has stabilized, and so all he has to do is be able to make sure that he keeps his current meat wagons alive while he finishes killing the last bit of ground units. And so that was really good. Like, congratulations on only using 1 back save in this mission. That's like actually pretty insane. This is very difficult.
Yeah, that is. I'm actually so glad. I mean, you noticed I completely zoned out in this mission, and that's for good reason. If you fail any of what is going on in the beginning, you just you get so screwed. I mean, I keep saying this, but it's actually true.
The alternative strategy, to give you an idea of how insanely fast this is, like the alternative strategy in this mission costs, or it takes 15 minutes for a fast mission, but he's going to finish it like at
in
like
6
minutes or so.
Like six, low 6 probably.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. But it's that first 3 to 4 minutes of the mission itself that it is so insanely difficult. And if he made like one tiny little misstep, he would have lost Arthas. He would have lost the Frostworm.
Yeah, and everything exactly. Everything is pretty much over immediately. Yeah, really glad.
Yeah, and then like all he has to do is like restart the mission. Like you can't salvage it. It's so crazy. So that was really well done.
Thank you, man.
Nice.
I'm really glad.
Yeah. So now what Saji's just doing is he's building a bunch of meat tractors. And they're gonna.
Dude, that's never gonna get old, right?
Yeah, like that stuff on the ground that isn't actually creep. That's plowed land.
Yeah.
Made by the tractors.
Dude, I don't know what a tractor is, so thanks for explaining it. Chat really made sure that I knew I was wrong.
Alright, Saji, test time then. Is that Frostworm a tractor?
Yeah.
Yep, you got it. Wow, nicely done.
See?
That is absolutely a tractor.
Look at this peon. It's doing heroic efforts. So the funny thing is in this mission too, we haven't mentioned this at all, I believe. So there's a ton of orc bases around us. But we're only going to kill one, and because the only thing we need to be close to is this demon gate, and there's one, there, and there. So there's so many orc bases, and it's so convenient that we only have to kill that one.
Yeah,
and I think
it's
we're
really
good.
nice. And then that one tiny little route that you can see on the minimap to get to the shop and stuff to be able to get the scroll of Town Portal. This mission definitely is very beautiful. But up next is going to be mission number 7, which is an odd number mission, so it's a little bit easier. But it's still hard. It's still very, very tight. And so Saji's going to just basically sprint to the end with his 2 heroes to be able to kill an Archmage while taking combat.
Yeah, so we haven't talked much about Kel. If you're not into Warcraft 3, has different spells from a Death Knight, of course. he has Nova, which is a huge frost armor. And these are the only important ones. And every player knows Undead, all they do is nuke heroes, and I just nuke that first Archmage, and that gives me time here because my abos are going to be my life insurance. Because as we mentioned earlier, Arthas has a skill called Death Pact, and Death Pact can actually sacrifice a unit to give him back the health that that unit once had. And these abos need to stay alive until the end so that I can sacrifice them, because I'm going to be taking an insane amount of damage on both of my heroes. The good thing is I have 3 items left. I have a mana pot, a health pot, and a mana scroll, which is going to replenish both my Lich and my Death Knight's mana. So that's looking pretty nice. But I really need to make sure that I don't lose any of my units until the very end, and that hopefully we don't get slowed here. I have no idea what triggers it, by the way, Muffin. Do you have any idea how? Like, this sorceress can slow me.
So if you end up accidentally attack moving, the sorceress will aggro.
Okay,
but as long as
works.
you're on walk maneuvers and don't accidentally target a building or something, you are fine.
Okay, so here, as you can see, I'm gonna just drop the last Abom. I'm not gonna heal it anymore. I'm gonna use this one. There we go. My Death Knight is full health. I still have my items, so just make sure my Lich survives. And
Yeah.
then
So
there we
here,
go.
yeah. So here is the only unit that we actually have to kill to end the mission. It has a lot of beef around it. Like, he has priests healing it, and then immediately the Lich ends up getting target fired. So he's just gonna micro it back, and then use 2 Novas and 2 Coils to be able to take it.
By the way, everything is gonna die, so Arthas is dead, Kill's dead, but here we go, we're alive again. Okay.
All right.
Time for me to
So,
shut up again
Sajiki-
because it's math time, even number, so goodbye.
Yep, so this is going to be the final mission. This is mission 8, and it's probably the most intense mission out of all of them. The mission itself lasts between like 10 and 13 minutes, and it's just absolutely fully packed. He's going to be working really, really hard all throughout the mission. So right in the beginning, the most important thing is that he keeps Arthas moving, because there are 3 bases on this map that he's going to try and take down, because this is a 30-minute auto-scroller. But if we destroy all 3 fully souped up bases that have like extra units and are very powerful, then we can actually end up defeating this auto scroller sooner than when the timer would normally run out. So right off the bat, taking Arthas into this first base as soon as possible is important, because they start researching building armor right at the start of the mission. But with these goblin landmines, Sajiki can just lay them down, attack them himself to destroy them. Ooh, yeah. They are so insanely difficult to click on in some cases. So if... Yeah, this is rough. So especially because...
Oh no, okay, I have to reload. I didn't kill the mortar.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. So Saji is going to end up backloading to just take another engagement, because it is very, very important that he is able to kill off as many units as possible, especially the mortar that is going to deal extra damage to buildings, because he is going to be using Arthas's ultimate, which ends up respawning a bunch of dead bodies on the ground. But it also makes them like incorporeal, or vulnerable, excuse me. So the enemies can't end up destroying those. Then laying down a mine in this pack of like 5 farms really quickly is going to destroy them. If he had been just even a tiny bit too slow, like maybe 5 to 10 seconds, he would not have been able to destroy those farms with a single mine. So very, very important that he was on top of that and destroyed that. But here with the invulnerable units, he's going to end up destroying these last 2 farms. Because the enemy bases actually end up having like an infinite supply of resources. Like if they just run out of gold or lumber, the game just auto-generates more resources. They don't have to mine anything. However,
that's bad. Bad again.
What the game, yeah, I think you're okay. It's just it's gonna. Oh, the gyrocopter. Okay. Yeah, that is unfortunate. If you research web early, you can take Crypt Fiends up there to deal with it.
Maybe I can just... Oh.
So this gyrocopter ended up surviving, which is a problem, because the enemy base isn't going to be making any more gyrocopter. Oh, the Necromancer. You just walk the Necromancer up and hit it once.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so So now that they have no more farms, they're never going to build any more units for the rest of the mission. So Sajiki can just send meat wagons up there at his leisure later in the mission, while he begins assaulting the second base. Also, don't forget to save. So in the second base, we have to take a bit more of a direct engagement, because they end up spawning lots of really powerful melee units, which are knights. And so the knights are going to be a huge pain to deal with. But bringing Arthas in once again to start the fight and lay down a bunch of mines, destroy as many units as possible. He's also going to end up trying to damage this arcane sanctum in the bottom right corner. If he's able to do this and take out the hero and the building, then it will not generate.
Hey, come back! Come back! What are you doing? Come back! Why? Where?
Just attack a building.
So no, this is kind of bad.
Okay. You could backload if you want to try the engagement again. Oh no, you're just gonna take it. Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, so
I think I'm not gonna be able to do it. No, I'm just gonna load back. Sorry. So the estimate is kind of generous, so it's fine.
Yeah, I think this is the smart play to do. So it's very important that Sajiki ends up taking down this enemy hero, especially the back line of like ranged units, in order to be able to take a better fight in the base. Because even after Sajiki destroys like this initial portion of units, he has to actually attempt to out-sustain the base as they are continuously producing more and more footmen, more and more knights. So if the ranged units and the hero are alive, like they were in that first case, it would have been like insanely difficult to be able to out-sustain the base.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Yeah.
Never mind. So as you can see, meat tractors have a very high aggro priority.
Yeah, they do. And so if Sajiki loses any meat tractors, it ends up slowing down the mission quite a bit because they do deal a ton of extra damage. And then also because so meanwhile, while all this is going on, he's actually getting attacked by Griffin Riders from the final base, which are the final tier tech unit for human. They deal tons and tons of damage. And so as these bases get progressively further and further up the tech tree, they become more difficult to fight and more difficult to face. And all while this is going on, he's trying to continuously macro meat wagons, continuously try and micro his army to be able to keep alive as many crypt fiends and meat wagons as possible. And then he also has to try and destroy the first base, which ended up having that gyrocopter. So he had to end up improvising and splitting his control.
I hope that died. I mean, I didn't see if he actually died.
Yeah, I don't know. You could send a ghoul up like right now to check.
That's true.
So now Sajiki has broken even. No. With the second base, so he has one more barracks in the castle to take down. But at this point in the mission, he's kind of like stabilized and sustained. But he needs to actually end up checking the first base to see if the gyrocopter's alive. Because if the gyrocopter's alive, he's going to actually have to end up sending up like at least one crypt fiend over there to be able to take them down. But a nice thing here is that Kel'Thuzad actually just warped in a bunch of Fellhounds. Yeah. And so there also, it's very important Sajiki just ended up making sure to take down any peasant that ended up spawning. And by doing this, this stops the human base from building more buildings. Because if he even allows one peasant to stay alive, they'll build like a barracks, and then the barracks will start just producing units.
It's just pretty funny. It has happened to Muffin's PB, I believe, and I really much enjoyed watching that. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. I was starting the final base fight, and then like my meat wagon started getting attacked by like 2 footmen. I was like, what the heck? What? And so it happens. It's rough. But it's just like there's so many different elements and so many different things that are just constantly going on in these bases. And now Sajiki has some supplemental meat wagons that are going to start taking down that first base while he is going to be microing Arthas to get some items, microing these meat wagons in the second base in order to be able to destroy buildings, microing the crypt fiends to get them to the fountain, and then using some supplementary meat wagons to be able to take down towers to open up a a supply path for further meat wagons he's producing to help out with the final base.
Oh, the tank is sad. He wants to attack us, but he can't. That's funny.
Yeah, so the steam tanks, which are not tractors, because they are not tractors.
They're not tractors?
Yeah, because they can only attack buildings. They can't actually plow ground.
Oh damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not an expert on tractors, so that's the problem.
Yeah, that's okay. That's why we're here. We're not here to like talk about speedrunning Warcraft 3, but to learn what is a tractor.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, where's he low?
Griffins attacked him while he was walking down.
Probably.
So now that Sajiki has ended up stabilizing. Oh, okay. So this is going to be actually kind of a tricky spot.
This is bad. What are they doing?
So just use the item now, the scepter, to take the Griffins.
Well, I can actually kill them, right? But this is bad.
Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. It doesn't matter like where you kill the hero, as long as he doesn't nail a blizzard on your fiends. Okay, nice. So Sajiki ended up just taking out that last Archmage, which is an insanely powerful foe, which is very, very spooky and very scary. So he is now going to try and enter the final base to be able to take this fight. And so he ended up using an item he got to actually steal 3 of the units from the human, which is very, very important. Because you can think of stealing the units as not only just killing them, but also being able to gain control. So not only did he lower the overall army supply of this final base, but he actually added on extra army supply to his own units. So this is just going to help him break down the front door into the first base. And then while the base has a bunch of Griffin Aviaries simultaneously producing, as well as a bunch of barracks simultaneously producing more units, he is going to be trying to buy room for his meat wagons to get in and start destroying the buildings. Like there, 3 Griffin Riders just instantaneously spawn. And so using the Crypt Fiends to target them down is super
These boys are lazy. I'm not doing anything.
Yep. And so those novice tractors are taking breaks. So
tractors are often taking breaks. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Work routine.
Yeah, they're lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But now that like Sajiki now is in just cleanup mode where he's trying to split up his units effectively to be able to take down these bases as fast as possible. He's already cleared all the buildings in the second base in the bottom right corner. And then he now has broken through the army in the final base. Sajiki, just also as a heads up, you might just want to save. The Archmage is going to respawn. Just
yeah, that's fine. I have the Fellhounds. They can mana burn.
Yeah. So now, also that he's actually destroyed 2 of the 3 Griffin Aviaries, he's going to just have a much easier time being able to sustain in this space in general. And so he has pretty much done it. He's taken out the first base now of the important buildings, so he's just going to send the remainder of his meat wagons to meet up with his army in the final base. Then the Archmage just had barely enough time to be able to respawn before destroy the altar. But the good news is that he actually does not respawn with full mana, so we can just end up taking our...
It would have been actually better if he would spawn with full mana, because the mana burn deals more damage the more mana you actually burn, and you have infinite mana on the Fellhounds. They don't despawn or anything, so you can just nuke them super quickly. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's true. And so now Sajiki only has one more army production building to take care of, and then it's just the castle and the altar, and then after that it's just like tower and farm cleanup. So time is definitely going to be coming up in the next probably like minute or 2.
Oh dude, nice. I have no wood anymore. I executed my my ghouls.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, that's
so
true.
Yeah, for a little bit of safety. That's funny.
But yeah, this is. I'm pretty sure I've done it.
Yeah,
this looks pretty fine. We just need to clean up this last base, which I did a pretty slow job of because I lost so many meat wagons in the process. Usually you want to have all those finish at the same time. Hero peasants still building stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Warcraft 3. Even though I'm pretty silent during this run for the most part, I believe it's a super exciting run. It's super fast. The Undead campaign is by far the most fun, in my opinion. Human is cool too, but Undead just as Muffin said, every second mission is super difficult and super cool to watch. RTS speedrunning in general is underrepresented in my opinion. So hopefully this is gonna get some more love. I mean, you had all the nice GDQ appearances, so that's definitely gonna help. But yeah, if you wanna run this, there are easier struts. You don't have to click like a madman like I do. It's not actually necessary. It just looks cool. And I hope Shaft's time ready on time, because that's gonna be coming up in about 10 seconds. That says 5 seconds right here. Once the screen fades out to black, this is where time's gonna come out. So, time! Ayy! We did it. And now we're gonna watch this extremely bad cutscene, which is super underwhelming. You might think, okay, Archimond is here, or Archimond, I don't know how he's called. He's gonna destroy Dalaran, right? This is gonna look insane, but he's just gonna have some sand and so it's pretty underwhelming.
De-urbanization in order to have more farmland for the tractors.
Yes. Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, dude, I'm really glad that went well. Do you know the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, good job, Sajiki. That was a 48:57.
Oh,
wow,
jeez.
sub 50.
Oh,
that's,
dude. That's pretty close to my
insane.
PB. I don't know what my... Let me check what my PB is. I think my PB is a 48. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I didn't want to interrupt with, so if you guys want to...
Yeah, go ahead.
From Logan, and he says, "No, that's not a tractor. It's an Elfenweeb." I don't know what that the last word is supposed to be. But I did my best. I assume it's German.
Wait, what was the time?
48:57.
What? I missed PB by 1 second. So my PB, you can see it on stream here. It's a 48:56, so that's pretty solid.
Wow, that's insane, dude. Congratulations.
Yeah, dude. Thanks a lot for commentary. Stay tuned for the next runs. I believe coming up is... What is coming up? I forgot. I'm a bad organizer. I know it. Cornerstone. That's a great run. I love.
That's up first.
What?
Kern Undying Thoughts is next by Seductive Spatula.
Oh, even better. There's Spat in between, so that's nice. Stay up for Spat, and then go Cornerstone, and then Jedi Academy Relay Race. So have a ton of fun, guys.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll. Thanks, Sajiki.
Yo.
Goodbye.